Before we dive into John Gottman's fifth principle for making marriage work, we have to define and discuss marital conflict. Hopefully, you didn't marry your clone, and so there will inevitably be some level of conflict in your marriage. Gottman teaches that all marital conflict falls into one of two categories. Either they can be resolved or they are perpetual, meaning they will forever be a part of your lives. Statistically, around 69% of all marital conflicts are perpetual. Despite what many experts say, you can have a healthy, thriving marriage despite conflict, and all conflict does not need to be resolved for a marriage to thrive. More on that next week in Principle 6. But today's principle is solving your solvable problems. Solvable conflicts are typically less painful and intense than perpetual problems. Once couples have a good handle on principles 1 through 4 that we've been discussing, they typically have a pretty good basis for solving these types of marital conflicts. Gottman suggests a 5-step framework for solving problems within a loving relationship. Each of these steps implies and imparts mutual respect for one another and a general sense of good manners. Step number 1 of this framework is to soften your startup. A soft startup comes without strong emotion. The best ones share responsibility, express feelings without strong emotion, are specific, and include a positive need. Conflict resolution that starts softer are less prone to Gottman's 4 horsemen. The second step in this framework is to learn to make and receive repair attempts. Repair attempts are emotional bids intended to de-escalate the tension in a conflict. They are essentially damage control by pumping on the brakes before things start to spiral out of control. The third step is to soothe yourself and each other. It's important to be able to soothe yourself or your partner if the tension or intensity level of an argument gets high. Once one or both partners reaches the level of flooding, it's time to take a break. If your heart rate gets too high, you won't be able to understand what your partner is trying to talk to you about, no matter how hard you try. So take a break, soothe, and try again at a later time. Step number 4 is compromise. The cornerstone of any compromise is implicit in principle 4, which is to allow your partner to influence you. You definitely don't have to agree on everything, but you should be open to considering each other's position. And so often, compromise is just a matter of talking out your differences and preferences in a systematic way and finding some common ground with each other. And last but not least, the 5th step is dealing with emotional injuries. Most of the time, our big negative reactions in the middle of an argument are deeply rooted in triggers or long-standing vulnerabilities. It's important to be able to process through these enduring vulnerabilities and share them with your partner so that they won't inadvertently trigger you. Being able to apologize and make constructive plans for the future are both hallmarks of solving a solvable problem. Solvable problems, regardless of the size or subject, have the best chance of being solved when there's a strong foundation of friendship and a sense that partners are on the same team and have each other's backs. Solving these solvable problems has the potential to deepen and strengthen a relationship, and when handled correctly, leave the partners feeling positive about themselves and their marriage. Join us next week as we discuss Principle 6, which is overcoming gridlock, the other category of marital conflict. Until next week, happy marriaging.